Hello there. St. Thomas is being projected as the new frontier. In between the pages, how government plans to develop the Eastern Parish into a niche destination. Plus, how to get the best out of your compost. This is Jamaica Magazine and I am Adrian Atkinson. Stay with us. This is the show with the information you need to know.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, May 18. Construction of a new $69 million aquaculture facility is to get underway this year at the National Fisheries Authority in Twickenham Park. The St. Catherine-based facility is expected to be completed by 2023 and is being funded by the World Bank. Fisheries Minister Floyd Green made the disclosure while making his contribution to the 2021-2022 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives recently.
This new hatchery will increase our fingerling production by 300%. We will move from a capacity of 1.5 million fry per year to 5 million fry per year when it is fully operational.
In addition, Minister Green says a promotional campaign will be launched in June to encourage more Jamaicans to consume more freshwater fish such as tilapia. Still on the fisheries sector, a satellite-based vessel monitoring system will be piloted this year as part of efforts to strengthen the safety mechanism for fishers while at sea. Fisheries Minister Floyd Green says the pilot will start with the island's network of conch fishers and is the first of two safety initiatives. The other is the use of a marine very high-frequency radio communication system to be introduced by 2023.
What this means, Madam Speaker, is that when our fishers are at sea, they will be able to communicate to us and tell us about their distress situations. And our JDF and our other first responders can track their location and can go to them to provide assistance.
The ministry is also seeking to increase access to financing for fishers and farmers. And Minister Green says discussions for the provision of fishing vessel and crop insurance are underway. Meanwhile, 15 fishing beaches have been selected for redevelopment over the next 5 years. The process will include 3 beaches per year at an estimated cost of $2.25 billion, beginning in Clarendon, St. Elizabeth and Hanover.
The development of the fishing beaches will include cold storage, sanitation facilities, a safe food market arrangement, fishing equipment storage, and general security systems.
Minister Green adds that the National Fisheries Authority is currently procuring 10 refrigerated containers to be placed in fishing communities that meet the requirements for managing these cold storage facilities. In other news, the Ministry of National Security is pushing forward amendments to the Corrections Act to deal with the trafficking of contraband in correctional facilities. Minister with responsibility for the Department of Correctional Services, the DCS, Senator Matthew Samuda, made the announcement during a tour of the Rio Cobre Juvenile Facility last week. He was speaking against the recent arrest of 2 correctional officers for trafficking illegal substance on the compound.
It's important to amend the Correctional Act to ensure that we can deal with the issues that have come to the fore, especially ones such as contraband. We also need to make sure that the technology is in place and indeed the training and the support to staff to ensure that they can deal with these issues.
Minister Samuda credits the Inspectorate Unit of the DCS for its increased monitoring activities and identification of breaches. Meanwhile, the teaching and learning capacity at the Rio Cobre Juvenile Correctional Center is being expanded with additional classroom spaces. The classrooms are among recently constructed and renovated areas at the facility.
We needed some additional square footage to ensure that the number of classes and the number of specialty areas can be focused on at the same time.
Minister Samuda says the number of teachers and specialized trainers for certain courses will also be increased,
while also integrating and working very closely with the Ministry of Education to change the educational outcomes as one of the major tools to reduce recidivism.
And finally, the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF has completed 2 more domestic violence intervention DVI centers. The 2 new centers based in St. Anne and St. Mary will allow more persons to seek assistance from the police in a more private and secure environment. Head of the JCF's Corporate Communications Unit, Senior Superintendent of Police Stephanie Lindsay, tells JIS News that retrofitting offices and training personnel for the 2 centers are being completed, with full operation expected to begin in the next 2 months. Each will be headed by an assistant superintendent of police.
We have seen families restored. We have seen persons change their total behavior and mindset, because sometimes the abusers, they have problems themselves and are not reaching out to help. So what they do is that they take it out by way of anger on the persons who are closest to them, usually their spouses and their children. So when we get an opportunity to intervene, we're not just looking at just the perpetrator, the victim, we're also seeking help for the perpetrator to help them to change their ways.
According to SSP Lindsay, in short order, all police stations will have trained personnel to handle domestic and other relational feuds. She adds that neighbors can assist by notifying the police of incidents. The 2 new domestic violence intervention centers bring the overall total to 6, with 2 each in St. Andrew and St. Thomas. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Informing.
Jamaica today confirmed its first imported case of coronavirus.
Educating.
If you follow the recommended procedures, it is highly likely that you will not get the disease.
Going beyond to keep you informed and connected.
Welcome to Get the Facts.
Even through the pandemic. Helping you stay safe while we protect ourselves. Dependable. Impactful. Accurate.
This is your JIS News.
Credible. Trustworthy. Every day, everywhere. Serving our customers proudly.
Coming up, the latest announcements by Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
More students receive technological devices. Prime Minister commits to curbing learning loss and congratulates first female Secretary General of CARICOM. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. 40 students of the Calabar Infant Primary and Junior High Schools are now in receipt of a tablet. The devices, along with a printer, were handed over to the school during a tablet distribution drive on Friday. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says more technological devices will be issued to students as the Ministries of Education and Finance partner with the private sector and civil society. So far, over 123,000 laptops and tablets have been disbursed.
There are about 500,000 learners in the system for which the government would want to focus on, and that would be between the early childhood ages, the primary ages, all primary ages in particular, and the high school ages, particularly those entering high school, those doing grades 10 and 11. So in all, about 500,000. The government procured and is in the process of distributing 15,000 laptops for our part students between grades 10 and 13. The government has procured another 16,000 tablets. They're in the process now. and that would go to students in grades 7 to 9.
The Prime Minister also revealed that 12,000 households have redeemed vouchers under the Own Your Own Device program.
I would encourage all Jamaicans who want to help the education system that this is a good way to do it. What I have seen for myself is that the students appreciate getting these devices. Whatever we have to do to catch up on what you have lost and to ensure that you have the foundation skills to advance the higher learning, the government of Jamaica is committed to ensuring that this is done.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness's assurance to the nation's children, acknowledging that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused major disruption in the education sector. The Prime Minister says many students are not learning at the level, pace, and stage at which they would if they were in the usual face-to-face learning modality. Speaking specifically to grade 6 students sitting exit exams, the Prime Minister is assuring that all will be done to ensure their smooth transition to grade 7.
I want to give you that assurance as children and to give that assurance to your parents who are also looking on. It is something that is near and dear to my heart, and I'm going to ensure that you are not adversely affected because of the measures that we have had to put in place to control the pandemic.
Work on a framework for the island-wide broadband internet access is at an advanced stage and it should be completed in 2 years' time. That's the update from Prime Minister Andrew Holness. He says households across the length and breadth of Jamaica will have wired and wireless internet service.
The new world that you will live in will all be digital, and that digital world requires a highway to carry information, and that highway is your broadband internet. And we're going to make sure that every single Jamaican has access to that highway coming straight to your home.
Last Tuesday, the Prime Minister congratulated Dr. Carla Barnett, who made history by being appointed the first female Secretary General of CARICOM. Dr. Barnett also made history as the first Belizean to assume the post. In a statement, Mr. Holness said the unanimous agreement to appoint Dr. Barnett reflected the commonly held sentiment that she would be an exceptional Secretary General. Dr. Carla Barnett assumes duties on August 15 when the current Secretary General, Erwin LaRocque, demits office. And Minister without Portfolio Everald Warmington has revealed that the state will be injecting an additional $133.9 million in the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Program. Minister Warmington told a recent sitting of Parliament that the funds became necessary due to the higher-than-estimated bids given by subcontractors on the project, which is divided into 15 packages.
We are implementing this program like none other. Based on the integrated strategy with water, sewer, telecom and other relevant infrastructure being included, this too will come at an additional cost to the program, but will be of super benefit to the country.
And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
So many wish they could visit our shores. We live where they vacation. Brand Jamaica beckons all from the four corners of the earth.
Well, as a Jamaican, I have great pride in selling it. Your pride that you sell Jamaica with is something that it rolls off. Jamaica has so much to offer, and every time I have the privilege of bringing an executive down to Jamaica, an executive from an airline or a tour operator or a travel agency, and you take them across the country, the pride that they said, wow, I can't imagine, especially when it's their first time. Wow, I love this.
Build it. Cherish it. Our wealth is Brand Jamaica.
From the east to the west, St. Thomas has natural resources which, if developed, can pull tourists to the parish. The Ministry of Tourism has completed a study that will reimagine the parish over the next 10 years to create tourism spots for international and local visitors. See more now on those plans.
Visions of a coffee trail and a Bath butterfly farm are among a decade-long plan to lure tourists to the parish of St. Thomas. It's being considered as the Pearl of the East. Tapped for its rich culture and unspoiled natural beauty, St. Thomas is forecast as the next tourism frontier. Realizing its potential, the Ministry of Tourism has embarked on an initiative to develop the parish.
The study has been done, the documents are before us. The St. Thomas Destination Development and Management Plan has been completed and will be unveiled within this fiscal year. The plan has identified 51 projects for implementation over the decade to 2030, of which 40 projects will be led by the Ministry of Tourism. It involves so many moving parts that have to come together, and it's a multi-sectoral approach. In other words, it's all hands on deck. The destination assessment of St. Thomas identified that the parish has numerous attractions and places suitable for development of tourist accommodation of various types, which should appeal to a wide cross-section of prospective visitors.
23 priority initiatives have been identified for development. Among these are the Morant Bay Historic District Project. This will involve restoring the historic buildings and monuments in Morant Bay Square in honor of national heroes Paul Bogle and George William Gordon. Further east in the parish, the ministry will seek to establish the Pera Eco Resort Village and Golf Course to feature a marina, super yacht facilities, horseback riding, and other amenities. To ensure that these projects come to fruition, Priority Initiative 23 is to attract investors and implementation partners. The ministry is targeting local and foreign investments to develop infrastructure, tourism attractions, and experiences in St. Thomas.
Its close proximity to Kingston, and especially to the Norman Mann International Airport, suggests that the considerable tourism development is possible there, which will serve as a catalyst for the wider social and economic development of the parish.
The plan speaks to all sectors in the parish benefiting from tourism, providing economic viability in communities beyond Jamaica's traditional resort areas.
We want to introduce our visitors to more community tourism experiences. This increased variety of experience will give the visitor the feeling of having a multi-destination vacation without ever leaving our shores. Our new marketing packages will encourage our visitors to take excursion to local shopping establishments, restaurants, entertainment facilities, and bars. We will also encourage them to wander along our beaches, rivers, or local fishing villages. Critical, in fact, in our shift to increase awareness of our community tourism offering will be a targeted campaign focused on our many cultural and heritage assets. We know that St. Thomas will take some time as we grow. We have to deal with zoning there. We have to deal with a lot of environmental issues that we'll have to settle. There's infrastructure that needs to be developed. Water to be developed in the areas, electricity, and then to look at product development in a big way. Hotels to be built, villas, parks, gardens, and then to really develop in my mind, the signature product for the parish, the Bath Fountain. Resetting the Jamaican tourism, we'll identify and establish innovative policies, systems, protocols, and standards that assure our visitors a safe, secure, and seamless experience while building out a new national tourism model based on a diversified portfolio of unique and authentic attractions and activities which draw heavily on the Jamaica's natural and cultural assets.
Concerned about uncollected garbage at home? Do you see garbage piling up on the streets? Then report it. Use the National Solid Waste Management Authority's mobile app to report instances of littering, illegal dumping, and uncollected garbage. From anywhere and at any time, be an environment warden by informing the authority of unsightly solid waste. You will be notified when your report has been received by the NSWMA, as well as when the matter is resolved. Download the app from the iOS or Android app stores by typing in NSWMA. Play your part, as Jamaica's beauty is everybody's duty.
As the nation looks ahead to labouring at home for Labour Day, here are some tips on how to compost your waste and help protect the environment. Take a look.
Compost is one of the richest forms of soil nutrient. So here we are buying fertilizer for huge sums of money, when in fact we are throwing away something which is richer in many regards than what we are buying, spending hard cash for. We, from time to time, do what we call garbage characterization survey. This is where we actually go island-wide and take samples of the garbage and look at what make up the garbage. All the surveys that are done in recent past points to one particular set of dynamic. The compostables are always the highest. 67% in some survey, 65% in some. We eat vegetables. We do ground provisions, the peelings from those. We use cardboards, newspapers, lots of stuff that can be broken down and can be put to good use. With such a high percentage of the solid waste being compostable, we are therefore forced to look at how we're going to manage in the best way possible, in the most efficient way possible, that high percentage of the garbage.
Composting is a rich form of soil that is broken down by microorganisms to become either fertilizer or soil. Now we're going to do a demonstration to show you how we can do it. First, if we're starting, this is our kitchen waste. So if you're starting a compost bin at home, you need to get your kitchen peel, your banana, your lettuce, your cabbage, your tomatoes, and you cut them in finer particles. It will make it break down much faster. In order for the microorganism to work effectively, you need moisture, you need air, and you need heat. You can use a hand shovel or your hands. Too much moisture will allow the stuff to rot and it won't be compost. And if it is too dry, the microorganisms won't be able to work effectively. So you need to get a right mixture. If you squeeze it with a fist, you shouldn't have any water running out of it. If it's dripping, it is okay. If it is running out of it, that means you have too much water. So now this is our compost. If you keep this moisture in your compost, it will give you a maturity rate of 3.5 months. And you'll get this final product, which is this right here. Compost, what it does, the longer it stays into the ground, is the richer it becomes. We're going to demonstrate how we use our compost for potting. We're going to pot a few plants using our compost. This plant is called spider fern. It is an indoor plant that does like a fair amount of water. It likes a light mixture. The composting can be used for indoor and outdoor plants. This plant is called a bougainvillea. It is an outdoor plant. It likes a lot of sunlight. It blooms a lot, and it likes dry areas. The compost is offer drainage. It doesn't keep the water too long. This is now 6 weeks old, and this is 3 weeks after being planted as a seedling, using our compost. And this bougainvillea is 6 weeks after being planted by our compost. And they're just blooming, blooming, blooming. This is a mature spider fern that we use for our rentals, and this is about 2.5 months old.
The other benefit is that we at the NSWMA, we would need less trucks. Now, right now, our biggest problem is trucks to remove garbage. Can you imagine if we could take out the 67%, which we could convert at source? What that would do to our national budget? Gas oil, repairs of trucks, labor to work on the trucks. Just look at it. It is huge savings that could come. Exponential is about getting a behavioral change at source that will see significant reduction in solid waste. We want to see this reduction and to see it in a very tangible way. And we believe that composting provides that excellent opportunity.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
You've reached the final page of the magazine. Thanks so much for being with us on today's journey. And another Jamaica Magazine unfolds tomorrow, so come back same time on this same station. Until then, go to our website, YouTube channel, and social media pages for more informative features. While there, please subscribe to our pages and channels so you can stay in the know. I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to mask up, sanitize, and stay 6 feet apart.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.